The scream never left her lips. Instead, it stayed there, curled in the back of Aisha's throat, suppressed by years of training and fear. Blood trickled freely from her hand, pooling on the concrete floor already smudged with blackened oil and chemical stains. A broken screwdriver lay beside her boot, its metal tip snapped from the force of trying to unbolt rust-welded parts on a car that should have been junked years ago. The garage smelled like despair, burnt rubber, metallic dust, and the bitter tang of old rage. "Everything okay in there, lady?" The voice came from behind her, rough, hoarse, unfamiliar. A man in a frayed cap and grease-stained overalls stood by the shelf of jumbled tools, pretending to reorganize them. He was new, had shown up 3 days ago, introduced by Peter, their regional manager, only as John. Aisha didn't even look up. "I'm fine." She wrapped her bleeding hand with a dirty rag, ignoring the sting. "Not like they'll give me a first aid kit anyway." The man's throat clenched. John, no, Marcus Blake, CEO of the 8-garage Blake Tech empire, watched the scene with silent fury. 3 days earlier, he'd walked into this hellhole of a repair shop disguised as a common hire, his pressed suit replaced with denim and engine grease, his Tesla traded for a dented pickup. Why? Because of a rumor, one whispered between finance memos and lost invoices. A friend in HR had hinted that workers in his garages were being pushed past the brink, and something about that had pierced deeper than any profit margin could soothe. But nothing had prepared him for this. A torque wrench held together with tape, torn gloves, a leaking hydraulic jack. "You should go to the hospital," he said softly. Aisha snorted bitterly, using her good hand to prop up the engine block on the rusty stand. "Sure, and lose my job. I've got 2 kids at home and rent due in 4 days." She looked at him now, eyes sharp. "Come on, help me lift this thing before Peter comes back." He did, in silence. Every movement he made, every word she didn't say, carved something brutal into his chest. From the glass-paneled office above, Peter Griffin watched them. White, overfed, dressed in a designer shirt that clung tightly over his gut like it was choking on its own guilt. His voice sliced through the air. "Aisha, that Civic was supposed to be done an hour ago." He didn't acknowledge her injury, didn't even glance at her hand. "And you, rookie, move those boxes to the back or your first week will be your last." Marcus obeyed, jaw clenched. In the dim light of the warehouse, he discovered the rot hiding behind the company logo. A battered filing cabinet, folders, accident reports. Aisha's name came up, over and over. Crushed knuckles, burns, concussions, employee error, negligence. But tucked in between them, like a smoking gun, was a memo, signed by Peter, approved by Marcus's own finance department. Cost savings achieved by deferring tool replacement and safety inspections. Budget reallocated to executive vehicle upgrades. Marcus staggered back as if slapped. He had built this company on his father's ashes, on the immigrant dream of sweat and ethics. And now that dream was rusting, bleeding, dying. He returned to the floor just in time to see Aisha trying to torque a bolt with the wrong size wrench, her whole body trembling. "Why are you still here?" he asked. She looked up, face glistening with sweat and something older, resentment. "Because 6 other shops told me they weren't hiring. Because 3 asked me if I even knew how to fix cars or if I just cleaned offices. Because here, for all its hell, at least they admit I know what I'm doing. That night, Marcus sat in his car watching the garage lights dim. The logo over the door was faded, crooked. The name his father bled for. And somewhere behind it, a woman bled too, quietly, invisibly. The next morning, Marcus arrived before sunrise. He ditched the full disguise, kept only the worn cap shadowing his face. From across the parking lot, he watched Aisha limp toward the garage, her bandaged hand still wrapped in the same dirty cloth. She walked like a soldier who'd seen too many battles and survived only by necessity. "This woman bleeds for a company that doesn't even know her name," Marcus muttered, gripping the wheel. His phone buzzed. A message from Vanessa Chun, Blake Tech's legal director. "All documents ready. Digital evidence secure. Forensic audit complete. Meet at 2 p.m. Location confirmed. Bring the auditor. No one else." Vanessa wasn't just a corporate lawyer. She was the daughter of 2 Vietnamese refugees Marcus's father had once employed as janitors. Her loyalty ran deeper than contracts. She believed in the soul of Blake Tech, the one Marcus had almost forgotten. Inside the garage, Peter was barking at the crew. No pleasantries, no humanity, just noise. "Listen up. Corporate wants numbers up this quarter. No overtime, no new tools unless I personally sign off. No more complaints." His eyes zeroed in on Aisha. "Especially from you. I've wasted too much time on your little requests." "My requests," she replied calmly, "are for tools required by state law." Peter smirked. "You think anyone's going to care what you say? A replaceable mechanic crying about conditions? Please." Marcus stayed silent, observing. Every sentence was another nail in Peter's professional coffin. Later, Marcus worked beside Aisha again, helping with a fuel injection calibration. Despite the injury, her hands moved with uncanny precision. "Where'd you learn all this?" he asked, watching her fix a diagnostic system using just a wire and a broken meter. "My dad ran a garage before he went bankrupt," she said, eyes fixed on the task. "I learned everything sleeping under cars as a kid." "What happened?" "Predatory pricing from a big chain killed him." Marcus froze. "Which chain?" "AutoFix Express, before Blake Tech bought them out." The words hit like a crowbar to the chest. 5 years ago, his first act as CEO had been to acquire AutoFix under advice that it was an easy kill. He'd never once asked who he was killing. At 2 p.m., a sleek black sedan pulled up across the street. Vanessa stepped out alongside Sofia Kaminsky, a forensic auditor with a reputation for dismantling empires. In a booth at a greasy diner across from the garage, the 3 met. "We found everything," Vanessa said. "Peter didn't just delay safety repairs. He embezzled funds for tools, falsified reports, forged internal approvals." Sophia slid a report across the table. "And there's more. The accident rate in that garage is 10 times higher than what's on file. It's been systematically covered up." Then Marcus's phone buzzed again. An anonymous message, a video. Peter's voice sneering. "I hired a black woman just to shut up HR. Can you believe she actually knows how to fix cars? But the second she complains, she's gone. Blake never shows up anyway." Marcus stared at the screen, hand trembling. "I have what I need," he said. "But now I'm going to give him what he deserves." Back at the garage, chaos had broken loose. A luxury car, the mayor's, had been towed in. Peter, for once, was attentive. "Aisha, you're working on this personally. I don't care how your hand feels. That car is worth more than your life. No screw-ups. As she crouched beneath the car, Marcus noticed something terrifying. The hydraulic jack, the one supporting the car, was cracked, leaking, unsafe. He opened his mouth to speak, but before he could, Peter strode in with the mayor. "Come see how we handle our VIPs," he beamed. "We only use the best equipment, integrity and excellence, Blake Tech's founding principles." The jack groaned. Aisha heard it first. She lunged backward. Peter whirled. "What the hell are you doing? Embarrassing the company." Then the jack snapped. With a screech of metal, the luxury car slammed to the floor, inches from Aisha's foot. The mayor turned pale. "My God, someone could have been killed." Peter blustered. "It's probably sabotage, or her mistake." "It wasn't sabotage," Aisha said, voice calm but fierce. "It's because I've reported that jack for months. I have emails, photos, everything." "You're fired," Peter spat, "effective immediately." Silence. And then Marcus stepped forward, voice clear, steady. "No one is getting fired today, except you, Peter." Peter turned. "Who do you think you—" Marcus pulled off his cap. "Marcus Blake, CEO." The garage froze. The color drained from Peter's face. Vanessa and Sophia entered, tablets in hand. "Wait, this is some kind of joke," Peter stammered. Vanessa swiped her screen. "Recognize this?" She played the video. "I hired a black woman just to shut HR up." Sophia followed with spreadsheets, signatures, approval documents, all forged. The mayor backed away slowly. "This is criminal negligence." "I did it for profits," Peter shouted, turning to Marcus. "Your targets, your cuts." "You're right," Marcus said, his voice filled with the pain of truth. "I let this happen. I prioritized margins over humanity." He turned to Aisha. "But you never backed down. You held this place together with broken tools and pure will." He nodded to security. "Take him out." Peter fought, but the guards dragged him from the garage, screaming threats. Marcus faced the stunned workers. "This garage is closed, temporarily, full pay for all of you during renovation. When it reopens, it'll have new equipment, new leadership." He turned to Aisha. "And if you'll have it, complete authority over safety standards, autonomy, back pay, and a salary to match." Aisha stared at him. "Why should I trust you?" "You shouldn't," Marcus admitted, "but I won't make the same mistake again." A week later, the garage was unrecognizable. Scaffolding surrounded the exterior. Inside, old tools were replaced with state-of-the-art equipment. In the corner office, Aisha reviewed blueprints. "This exhaust system's inadequate. We need 30% more." "Approved," Marcus said instantly. She narrowed her eyes. "And the other managers? If Peter was one problem, who else?" He smiled. "Already on it." Vanessa entered with a folder. 3 more have been removed. "We're creating a safety and compliance division. You'd lead it. Chain-wide authority." Then his phone rang. Frank Matthews, the CFO. "Marcus, you're bankrupting us. The board's furious." "Frank, did you sign off on Peter's forged memos?" I didn't know the full extent." "You'll resign or tell me who did." After the call, Aisha whispered, "It goes to the top, doesn't it?" Marcus nodded. "Then that's where I'll go." The next day, Marcus stood before the board of directors. Richard Townsend, the vice president, took the floor. "This emergency meeting addresses the removal of Marcus Blake as CEO." Marcus remained calm. "I have a 15-minute presentation as per my rights." He turned on the projector. The first slide, a photo of his father beside a rusted car. He built this company with his hands, with honor, with integrity. Then, images of broken tools, Aisha's bleeding hands, the jack. Gasps in the room. Richard tried to interrupt. "This is emotional manipulation." Marcus smiled. "Now open your folders." Inside, forensic audits, transcripts, videos, including Richard himself discussing keeping the black girl in line. The boardroom fell to silence. Aisha stood. "I've never spoken at a board meeting, but I'll speak now." She rolled up her sleeve. A jagged scar ran across her forearm. "No worker should bleed for your bonuses. We kept silent. We worked through the pain. But if we keep quiet now, more people will get hurt. More families will break." Richard's voice shook. "Still, his reforms are too expensive." Marcus switched slides. A new graph. Productivity up 28%. Complaints down to 0. Profits up 15% in 3 weeks. Safety isn't a cost. It's an investment. The vote? Overwhelming. Marcus stayed. Richard and 3 others removed. 3 months later, Aisha stood beneath a red ribbon at the entrance of Blake Tech's new Safety and Compliance HQ. She said to reporters, "Every garage now meets national standards, and there's a hotline for whistleblowers, anonymous and protected." Peter Griffin watched her speech on a small TV in a cluttered apartment, unemployed, facing 3 criminal charges. No auto shop would hire him now, not even to sweep floors. Aisha turned to Marcus at the ceremony. "You know what amazes me? That I made broken tools work all these years?" Marcus chuckled. "Imagine what you can do now with the right ones." 1 week later, Blake Tech launched a scholarship for marginalized youth in auto repair. The training center was housed in Garage 3, rebuilt from the ground up, and named after Aisha's father. A camera captured the first graduating class receiving their toolkits. Aisha's sons were among them. "My mom taught me that the world can break you, but it's what you build from the pieces that defines who you are." Marcus watched the segment in his office, the sun setting behind him. A new notification blinked on his screen. Quarterly profit, record high. He smiled. Integrity, it turned out, was the greatest business model of all. And sometimes, to see the truth, you had to get your hands dirty.